Hello students. So we are going to continue with the last lecture of the second part of its electrical circuit analysis. In the last lecture we have studied that how to solve the many number of meshed off resistance into a simpler form and can find out the equivalent resistance of the circuit. In the last class also I explained it to you that if we will be drawing in basic circuit, so it should have a battery and it should have an external resistance and a switch. When the switch is closed, then the circuit is completed and the current will start to flow. And some of the battery may contain, if the battery is not an ideal one, it contains an internal resistance with it. So the current that is flowing through the circuit is calculated as, by using Ohm's law, EMF divided by the equivalent resistance of the circuit. So this circuit seems to be a very easy circuit or a very simpler circuit, so we can directly find it out. But what happened if the resistances are messed up? So many resistances are given here. We have already learned the process of finding out that how to find out the equivalent resistance, right? And what happened if this batteries are messed up? So many number of batteries are connected to the circuit. So we also have a process to simplify the circuit and solve it. So we will follow few of the methods, like it has been adopted since a long time and has been given by some well-known scientists that how to solve the circuit. So apart out of those methods, the most well-known method that we are going to adopt is that Kirchhoff's voltage law, and the second one is, or well known it as KVL, or it is widely known as KVL, and the second one is Kirchhoff's current law. Kirchhoff's current law is commonly known as KCL, and one of the law is based on the charge conservation and the second one is based on the energy conservation. So let us discuss with the KCL first, then after that we will move to the KVL or Kirchhoff's current law. So this is KCL. What does this KCL says? Because already we know something about this. It says that at a junction, this law is all about the distribution of currents at a junction. This law states us about the distribution of current at a junction. And what is the meaning of a junction? We have already studied about it in the previous topic. Junction is a point where more than two branches are originating. If we say that this one is a junction and a group of currents are entering and exiting, we don't know, but I can see that I1 is entering, I2, I3, and this is I4, then we can clearly write down that the magnitude of I4 should be equal to a plus I1 should be equal to I2 plus I3. So that means whatever be the amount of current is entering into the junction, the same amount of current should exit out of the junction. That means the summation of the current or the net current at a junction should be equal to 0. So this is our KCL. And this is universally followed in a circuit that will be given to us. Whatever be the circuit is given to us, it should be followed. So the net at a given junction of a circuit, total sum of all the outgoing currents in all branches at that junction is 0, right? So this is our first law. Second one is, what is the application of KCL? What is the application of KCL? That we have seen it in the previous topic as well. Let's solve a circuit. As you are well aware about the junction analysis, so I'm going to give you a circuit of 20 volt battery is connected over here. This is our application. This circuit can be easily solved by you by finding equivalent resistance, by finding out the equivalent resistance of the circuit, then find out the total current, then you can divide the current by using current divider rule. Okay, but I'm not going to do anything about it. We will solve the circuit by using junction rule. So junction rule is based upon the net current at the junction should be equal to 0. So what is the method? If this one is a 20 volt, so this point will have a potential of 0 volt. So as this point is connected to this particular point by a straight conducting wire, so this one will also have a potential of 0 volt. So this one is also 0 volt. And this point will have a potential of 20 volt. Why I am doing so? Because a single battery is present. And we don't know the potential of this junction, so this will have an unknown potential X. If we will be able to solve the potential of this point, then we can find out the current in each branch. Whatever be the current that is emanating from this battery, let it be I, this I is going to be divided between these two resistors as I1 and I2. So we can write down I should be equal to I1 plus I2 at this particular junction, right? And as we know that whenever there is a potential difference is present between across a resistance, then only the current flows from higher potential to lower potential. If V1 is greater than V2, then the current moves from 1 to 2. If V2 is more than V1, then the current moves from 2 to 1. Okay. But for the time being, we are not going to decide that who is at a higher potential. So the method is that always take this particular point, the unknown one, as the high potential. X is at higher potential. We'll be saying that X is at higher potential. X is at higher potential. So second rule says that the net current at this junction should be equal to 0. So how many branches are coming out of this? 1, 2 and 3, right? So we are assuming that all the currents that are going out from X, and when we will add all these off, then that is going to give us a result equal to 0, right? And we know that current is equal to potential difference divided by resistance or connected between these 2 points. So as we are taking this point as X and 20, so I'm going to write X minus 20 divided by 4 plus net current should be equal to 0, right? You do not have to equate it if you are going to write it. Mathematics is going to do its own work. So it's plus X. I'm writing it for this branch. One end of this 3 ohm is connected to X potential and the other end is connected to 0. So X minus 0 divided by 3 plus X minus 0 divided by 6 should be equal to 0. On further simplification, we will be getting X by 4 minus 5 plus X by 3 plus X by 6 should be equal to 0. So let us bring all the X side together and 5 will be going to the other side. And 5 I'm taking to the other side of it. So if we'll solve all these things, so here 4, 3 and 6, so they will give you our LCM of 12. So this is 3x plus 4x plus 2x should be equal to 5. And on further simplification, we will be writing here 4, 2, 6, 3, 9. So 9x is equal to 60. And x is equal to 60 by 9 volt. 60 by 9 volt. That is coming out to be 20 by 3 volt. That is coming out to be 20 by 3 volt. Clear? So we got the potential of the unknown potential 20 by 3 volt. If the unknown potential is calculated, now we will keep this result and we will move to the next sheet to solve it. So we found that the unknown potential is 20 by 3 volt. I'm erasing the space and let's find out what are the currents in all the branches. And once you'll be able to find out the current, then we can also find out the other parameters like potential difference across them and how much power is generated. That is in the second part of it. So let's find out that how much currents are flowing in or across all the resistors. So X is equal to 20 by 3 volt. So let me continue that. As we know that now we are sure that as we have already calculated the value of X, now we got that X is less than 20 volt because X is calculated to be 20 by 3 volt. So that is not going to alter the calculation. So I is equal to 20 minus 20 by 3 because I is the current that is flowing in 4 ohm resistor. So the potential difference across it is 20 minus 20 by 3 divided by 4. So this is coming out to be 40 by 3 into 4. You do it, you will be getting it. This is 10 by 3 ampere. This is 10 by 3 ampere. So we got the total current that is flowing through the circuit is 10 by 3 ampere. Now let us calculate the current at I1. I1 is equal to the potential difference across 3 ohm divided by 3 ohm, x minus 0, that is 20 by 3 into 3. So this is 20 by 9 ampere. I1 is also calculated out to be 20 by 9 ampere. If you want to calculate I2, I2 is nothing but is I minus I1, or you can do x minus 0 by 6. That is 10 by 3 minus 20 by 9. Let's take 3 and 9 as LCM, it is coming out to be 9. So 30 minus 20, that is coming out to be 10 by 9 ampere. 10 by 9 ampere. Okay. So this is called as nodal analysis or junction analysis, by which we can solve a circuit without using the loop rule. So here we purely use the concept of nodal analysis or Kirchhoff's current law. Next case, I am going to give you a very simple case of Kirchhoff's voltage law. Kirchhoff's voltage law helps us to solve many of the junctions actually. Many junctions. Loops. Loops are solved. It is also called as loop rule. KVL. Okay. Let's take an example. This one is our loop. How many batteries are connected now? 2 batteries. It may be possible that one more branches will originate and will start to participate in the complete circuit. So here we do use the loop rule. Let the current in the circuit is I. So how to solve it? For your reference, I am taking a point X over here. Remember that as we are solving it for the very first time, so you have to decide the loop. Loop is always a closed part of a circuit. Closed part of a circuit. It may be a complete circuit or maybe a part of the circuit. So in this case, my loop is X, Y, Z and A, M. Okay. So we are going to write down the loop rule. Decide any arbitrary point to start and end. If you are starting from X, so starting point is X and ending point should be X. Choose the path as we are going to in anti-clockwise direction or in clockwise direction. But the concept is that if we are traversing a loop completely, then the potential drops across all through the circuit elements should be equal to 0. I'll show you actually. If I'll tell you the statement, then you cannot understand. Okay, let's move from X and we will come back to X. In the branch of X to Y, we are encountering a battery and we are traversing the battery from negative to positive end. So we are going to write it as plus E1. There is no way of dividing the current, so the same current will pass through. We don't know that who is supplying this current, right? It is actually a combined effect of both the batteries. Now we are moving across the resistor, but the direction in which we are going is the same direction as of the current. So whenever we move in a direction that is along the same direction as of the current, then the potential drops, right? So I'm going to write down minus of I R1. I'm going to write it as minus of I R1. Then again we are encountering a battery in which we are again moving from negative to positive end. So we are going to write plus. Same battery and resistor, and we are moving in the same direction as of the current. So we are going to write it as minus of I R2. Is there any other circuit elements? No. We have reached our destination from which point we have started. We ended it over here. That is 0. You started from Y, end your journey at Y, you started from Z, you end your journey at Z, everywhere you'll be getting the same answer. So our motto is to find out the current here. So which is going to be E1 plus E2 is equal to I times of R1 plus R2, because we have taken all these things to the right hand side. So the current over here is E1 plus E2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this is the current in the circuit. This is the current in the circuit. So this is the way how we can use the KVL. I will take another example, that how to solve the complex circuit in the KVL. But for the timing, I'm going to solve the other part, and I will take up these examples more in the discussion session in the next when I will be solving the numericals. Okay. So every circuit, on your convenience, you can solve it by using the loop rule or by using the junction rule. It depends on that how the circuit is given and how comfortable you are to solve it. I'm going to take a circuit and let's solve it. This is 5 ohm. This one is 4 ohm, 10 ohm. I don't think the circuit is going to be like little bit complex, but anyways, we know the right way to solve it, right? So this one is 10 volt. Here we have got 8 volt, 8 volt. I'm going to use the junction rule to solve it now, or nodal analysis method. Okay. So this has a potential of 6 volt. I mean this battery. How many batteries are there? 1, 2, 3. So you cannot use the concept of series and parallel combination over here, right? Because you're not sure that who is at series and who is at parallel. You have only two alternative methods are left with you. Either you use the loop rule or you use the junction rule. Now I will be using the junction rule. For that we have to identify the junctions and assign potential to those junctions. We can see that if I'm going to say that this point is having a potential of 0 volt, okay, then I instantly found that this point is also connected to this point, so this will also have a potential of 0 volt, and this one will also have a potential of 0 volt, right? Apart from that, if this one is 0, so obviously this is going to be 8 volt, because in between them no other circuit element is present. But you cannot certainly write it as 10 volt because 4 ohm resistor is there. This is not directly connected by a straight conducting wire. So this is my unknown potential X. Let it be. But here we can easily assign it as 6 volt. So I think all the junctions are assigned with their potential. In fact, I can say that you should assign the potential to each side of the resistor. So this part is 10 volt, but this is not 10 volt because there is some potential drop is happening in this 4 ohm. Now we are required to find out the current through it. So in this case, my first motto is to find out the unknown potential. Step 1, assume X as the high potential. Right? And as we know that the net current at this junction should be equal to 0. 0 means we can write X minus 6 divided by 5 plus X minus 10 divided by 4 plus X minus 8 divided by 10. That's all. Because only 3 branches are originating. So we can write down X by, I'm solving it. I have already solved it. You can do it. I'm taking this as LCM as 20. So I'm taking the LCM as 20. So this is 2X minus 16. Actually, I did it for X minus 8 by 10. Anyways, you can do it on your own. Plus 5X minus 50 plus 4X minus 6 minus 24 is equal to 0. Now on solving, we will be getting 11x equal to 90, which is giving us x is equal to 90 by 11 volt. 90 by 11 volt. Once we get the value of x, now it has become really easy for us to solve it, right? X is equal to 90 by 11 volt. 90 by 11 volt is something around 8 point something. If 8 point something is there, so this 8 point something is more than 6 volt and it is also more than 8 volt, but it is less than 10 volt. So approximately we can say that at this point the current is entering and at these 2 points the current is going out, right? So it is something like this, right? Anyways, now we can find out the current in 5 ohm. I can write down the current in 5 ohm is equal to, so x is more, no? So we can write x minus 6 divided by 5. So this is coming out to be 90 by 11 minus 6, which is coming out to be divided by 5. And this is 24 by 55 ampere. This is 24 by 55 ampere. Similarly, I'm just writing down the values for 10 ohm. It is x minus 8 by 10. If you'll put all these values, you'll be getting it as 1 by 55 ampere. Similarly, finding out the current in 4 ohm, that is x, okay, this time 10 volt is more. So we'll be writing 10 minus, if you want, you can write x. So you'll be getting a negative